What's up, and welcome back to Opposites Attract Podcast. This is Sonia Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting next to
Miguel Ramirez.
What's up, everybody? How is your day?
How was your week?
How is your life?
Going.
Well, that was
one.
new. That sounded...
I'm doing a bunch of stuff at the same time. We forgot to set the what's it called? The hourglass.
Yes.
Which you guys can't see. If you don't watch the podcast on YouTube or Facebook, you can also watch it on our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com. You can listen to it there. You can see all of the ways that you can follow our social media. But if you guys are listening to this podcast, you're already listening to it. So leave us a review, a comment, like. If you're not subscribed, I don't know why you wouldn't be. Subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes. That's the one that helps us the most, and it helps get the podcast out there. We definitely appreciate that.
And all that good stuff. So our last episode, we were talking about how to lead by example.
Yeah.
Right? And you were sharing your situation with your hurt rib and just pushing through, because so many people would use that as an excuse to not to move forward.
Yeah. And I had already, like I told you, I had already started making excuses, and I caught myself. I was like, I'm not going to do my hair because it hurts to lift my arm.
Right. I
was like, it really doesn't hurt that. Like, it hurts sometimes, but it doesn't hurt bad enough that I can't do that. I was going to have you plug in your own headphones because it's hard to reach down. And it's like, no, fuck that. I can do it. Like, I'm not going to make excuses.
But we were talking as well as the importance of leading by example for our children and teaching our kids. Well, we would always question, like, how do you teach your kids that determination, like that grit, right?
Yeah.
And with the way we grew up in humble beginnings. Like, we had no choice but to be that way,
to be gritty,
in order to succeed.
Right.
But while having our two children, you and I have made decisions way back then that we were going to do whatever we had to do in order to live a better life and to give our children more options.
That reminds me of that saying. What is it? It's the good times create soft men, right?
Finish it.
I got to put it together. It's good times create soft men create hard times create hard men create good times, and it's just a cycle.
Yes. And so, our kids are growing up way different than how we grew up. We both grew up with single parents. They have both their parents in. They don't have to struggle for anything. Right. And so not having to push through certain things or help out the family.
Yeah.
Get things done. It's just, it's almost like that. And I don't feel that our kids, and they probably do have a little bit of that entitlement that they talk about.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's a way to avoid it when you have it good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but we try to figure out ways for them, to learn the lessons that we've learned.
And some of those ways, I think that we've just some of the things that we've done to help them find that grit and that determination is when they do want a new transformer, or when they want
to go to California for a singing trip.
Exactly. To ask them questions on how are you going to raise money
to do that. Yeah, because it's like, yeah, we could just pay for it.
Right.
But that's not how life works. If you want a transformer, it's not your birthday. It's not Christmas. It's just Tuesday.
Right.
So how are you going to do that?
Yes.
And
so installing that hustle within them, like Audrey just recently actually asked me, she's like, hey, what can I do to make, $20? And she's asking me because there's times where if I don't have time to clean my bathroom, I don't expect them to clean my bathroom because that's our bathroom. They clean the other two bathrooms in the house, right?
Yeah.
And at times I will be like, all right, well, I'll give you extra
do some
cash.
of our stuff.
And they're so good. We don't pay them for doing their chores or we used to, doing what they need to do. So every once in a while, I'll throw them, $10, $20, just because of, what they've been doing and how they've been keeping up on things and, stuff like that. But we don't pay them for doing their chores. So when she came to me, I looked at her because my bathroom was already clean. And that's the only thing that I could think. Right. And I looked at her and I'm like, you need to come up with some ways. Because when she was younger, it was like lemonade stands, selling cookies door to door. And she still could do the cookies and baking and stuff like that. But I told her, you need to think of a way or what you can do to raise that money. And I think that there has helped us to help them find that hustle. But the grit and determination, like you said, it may be just us leading by example and putting them under certain stresses like jujitsu. Yeah. Right?
Right.
And softball with Audrey. Like Audrey found that determination and grit with softball. Yeah. Would you agree?
Yeah. Yeah, I think she did.
It was like a switch just turned on overnight.
But another thing is that her coach, like I was talking to one of her coaches at the last tournament, and they were like, we love that she was in softball or in jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, hey, Audrey, run through that wall. And she will run through the wall.
Yeah. No, so she was, I don't know which base she was running to, but one of the girls accidentally, like was supposed to move a certain way, and tripped. She tripped and face planted in the dirt. And when she got up, or when you picked her up, she still had dirt all over her face. Yeah. And she did have a bump on her forehead, but she's that girl. Like sometimes she makes me nervous because she's a lot like you. Like she won't complain about discomfort, right? Oh, it's a little bump, no big deal. Like, yes.
No excuses, yeah.
But I'm like, Adriana, if something's bothering you, you still gotta, let me know, So, but anyways, I'm sharing this with you all because, the last podcast we named it just Raising Champions. Like, yeah. And today I went to church.
And what was the message, babe?
Champions, like just how to be a champion yourself, but also how to raise champions, right? And it's having that grit and that determination and that fight within, because a lot of times in religion, people tend to place responsibility on the enemy when things aren't going their way.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of kind of looking within and taking responsibility for where your life is at.
That reminds me of the book that I just finished, Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. And they were talking about the different proverbs from the difference between the proverbs in Russia and the proverbs in China. Mm. And the example that they gave was a Russian proverb that said, if God doesn't give it, the earth will not bring it, or something like that. Mm-hmm. And they said that the Chinese proverb was, a man who wakes up before the sun 360 days a year is something like there is no way that he will not have success for his family or something like that. Mm-hmm. But one is kind of like putting it in God's hands. Mm-hmm. And the other one is get out there and do it.
Right. Like for me, what I've found through my journey or my adventure in life, because there was a point, I became very spiritual before I even stepped into a church. Like I had a relationship with God, spirituality before walking into the church.
Yeah.
And then once I found a church, I became very religious. And our relationship was a bit shaky during this time.
Yeah.
Because I was becoming very rigid in my thoughts and my beliefs. And I had to go through finding my inner God, right? Finding I am capable, right? Regardless of the situation, I am the creator of my life.
Yeah.
And God is my guide and my mentor. That's, because I do have that, I've had so many spiritual experiences that I just don't believe that it's just me.
Yeah.
You understand? Like, I feel that there's a higher power, energy, frequency. Well, I call it God. You can call it whatever you want, but I call it God.
Yeah.
And it's always been that way for me.
But it's your God. It's not like everybody else's God, right? It's not like the religious gods. Is it?
It's
or the gods from the books. I mean, I'm not talking about Christianity specifically.
For me, it's I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe, we've had this conversation. Now we're getting more into the conversation that I wanted to, but I believe in Jesus Christ. I know, but I wasn't going to get this deep into it. I believe he was here to teach us the power of I am, to teach us that God is in all of us.
Yeah.
And to show us how to love unconditionally and also show us the strength that is within us.
Yeah.
Right? In the Bible, when Jesus is going by and people are touching his robe, right? What do they call it? His robe. And he says, because you believed, you are healed. And there's many verses in there that say that over and over again. It's because you believe.
Yeah.
You healed yourself. Like, you healed.
Right.
Because you believe.
Exactly.
So just going through my journey and really reading the Bible, but reading the Bible from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And really listening to what God said. What did Jesus say in the Bible? Not what he did, but what did he say? And there's verses like I have on my wall here. The kingdom of God is within you. I and my Father are one. Ye are a God.
Yeah.
But what I question is it amazes me how a lot of times these verses are in there hundreds of times, but they're never really taught inside the church, giving the people the power to. But today, it was. Our pastor's message was.
Yeah. I think it depends because, just like laws, there could be a law that's written down a certain way, but it's all about how you interpret that law. And it's the same thing with the Bible. Like, if that's not the way that it was supposed to be interpreted, and it's been interpreted that way for thousands of years, maybe that's not what it was supposed to be.
And the Bible is full of parables. Yeah, full of parables.
Yeah.
Full of parables. And if you don't understand it, it is very hard to really get the depth of it if you don't understand what the parables mean. And the reader can read one thing and think another. You and I could read the same verse and I can get something totally different from it. Yeah. Like, for instance, right? Let the children come to me. All right. It says, and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of God belongs to such
as these.
When I read that, what do you take from it?
I don't know, babe. I mean,
you don't know?
How's your world?
When you read, I know, but babe, you don't understand it. Like, you can read it and not understand it. But with that just in itself, what it means to me and what the verse means, I'm sure what it means is that the kingdom belongs to those that go back to being fearless, courageous, going back to being that little toddler who believed that he's Superman. He gets up one morning, I'm Superman. He believes he's Superman. He acts like Superman. It's having the belief that there's no fear. It's just being able to do the thing that you want to do and having that unconditional love, joy, and peace that children have within. But anyways, the message today was about building champions. Being a champion and raising champions.
Yeah.
And I told them, how interesting. Because our previous podcast
was exactly about that.
You were talking about that.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is what we spoke about. And it was just a confirmation for me that, we are doing what we need to do to raise our children the best we know how.
Yeah.
And even when we don't know how, we educate ourselves more.
Yeah. And we share with them that we're learning. We're learning all the time. They hear us learning all the time. They're always hearing us listening to books, reading books, looking stuff up. That's a regular thing in this house. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's normal everywhere for everybody, but that's what we do all the time. Kind of going back to what you were just talking about with Jesus and all the people, like what he was trying to do. Mm-hmm. There's somebody that's popular now. I mean, not to compare this guy to Jesus or whatever, but if Jesus was a person that was trying to show people that they had the power within them to, like, it is one of these things, if just the power, like the placebos, right? A placebo pill where you think that it's doing something, it's only a sugar pill. But because your mind and your body thinks that you're doing something, your brain it heals you somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And if Jesus was teaching people these sorts of things, that they have the power within them to change their life, to create whatever life they want to live, that they are, like I say, kind of like the God in their life. If God is the creator and I create my life, then what does that make me? I mean, not like the creator of the universe and all that, not so much. Like, that's not me. But I'm just saying, if I create the life around me with my decisions, if God is the creator, then what? Yeah. I mean, it sounds arrogant, sounds crazy, but whatever. And if he was teaching people stuff like that, there's probably, at that time, especially with religion, the way it was, and the church and everything, there's probably a lot of people that did not like that. And right now, there's a person, I'm not going to say he's like that, but he's been causing a crap ton of trouble. Have you heard of this dude, Andrew Tate? He's like a dude that blew up on social media, and he says like these brash things. Like he talks shit about a lot of stuff, but then sometimes you'll listen to the things that he says and you're like, damn, like that, he's making a lot of sense. And I can't remember where I heard something about, like, somebody wanted to give him like $1 billion for him just to shut up, like stop fucking talking. And he's like, I'm good. Like, he's already multimillionaire, like hundreds of millions. I don't know if he has $1 billion or whatever, but he's like, I don't need $1 billion. And I'm putting out a message here. And he ended up getting arrested.
What?
Yeah, he ended up getting arrested, him and his brother.
What was he talking about?
Politics?
Because that's
no,
I
no,
mean,
he's talking about the system. Actually, I watched the video yesterday about the company Nike, and he was talking about how Nike doesn't pay taxes. He said that they have a company in Europe that sells all the stuff.
Maybe we shouldn't be talking about this stuff
no,
because
no, it's out there. No, they have two companies, and it's all under the same thing. But one of them is in Europe, and that company, Nike UK or whatever, sells all the merchandise, makes all the money. And then there's another company that owns all the trademarks and the patents, and that is it's the country where you don't freaking pay taxes pretty much. It's like Belize or one of these countries where everybody stashes their money so that they keep it safe and they don't pay taxes on it. So when they go to pay at the end of the year, it's like, wait, we own all these patents and we own all this money. So they send all the money there. They have to pay taxes, but they pay 1% on everything. So it's pretty much nothing. But he's putting all this stuff out there about all the different things that are happening in the world, and people don't like it.
Wow.
You know, like, he's exposing a lot of stuff.
Wow.
And because
There
he
you
didn't
go.
take that $1 billion,
Right.
they ended up arresting him.
Wow.
And Jesus, they ended up crucifying him. You know? But yeah, it's freaking crazy. But getting back to what you were talking about, like the champion mindset, another thing that I was kind of thinking about was another thing that we do is, like you were saying, the leading by example. Like we've got situations where Audrey is getting after it. Like she's getting busy playing softball. She's got tons of homework that she has to do.
Mm-hmm.
She's singing. She wants to run track. And look, I don't want to limit her to the things that she can do. If she can do it and if she can handle it, go for it. You know, I mean, at a certain point, she's got to, like, we got to talk to her and she's got to understand that if you want to be good at one thing, then like if you're splitting your time, you're not going to be the best at any one thing.
Right.
You know, but if you're okay with that, then all right. But when there's times that she has a lot going on,
Mm-hmm.
like we've said before, there's times when it's like, go do your homework. We'll clean up.
Right.
Like we do
Yes.
things, like we support each other. And that
Yes.
is leading by example,
Yes.
you know?
Yes. 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 Yeah. 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 It's team effort, right? And when I notice, I haven't told her the other day. So I go into her room to check on her, and she's just not feeling well. Like she's in her emotions, and I can tell. And I'm like, "Hey, are you done with your homework?" And she looks at it and she's like, "No." She's like, "No, I've been sitting here since I got home." I'm like, "What's going on?" She's like, "I don't want to do it." I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, explain." She's just like, "I just don't feel like doing it." Like she's at that point where she's just frustrated with all the homework
She's paralyzed.
Yes. And I looked at it and it was almost complete. There was only one page that wasn't done and everything else was so beautifully done.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm like, "Don't do it then." I said, "What are you going to get? If it's incomplete, what are you going to get? Like a C, maybe a B minus?" I'm like, "Everything else on here looks great." I'm like, "I'm fine with you just not doing it." I'm like, "If you get a C, you get a C." And she looks at me and she's like, "I will not get a C. I don't want a C."
Well, if that's the case,
There's your answer, baby. Give into it. If you're
Stop
not
fighting
okay, exactly. If you're not okay with getting a C, then just give into it.
and everybody has that. Everybody has these situations that it's like going for a run. Like, how long do you sit there and look at your shoes before you actually fucking put them on and go running?
Or look at the pool before you get in.
Right. The cold plunge.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
You know, that's, I think David Goggins talks about that. And it's like those 1 second battles. It's those 1 second battles that in that moment make the decision go.
Yeah.
Just go. You know?
What was so great about that is that she knows who she is and she knows what she's okay with. She was not okay with getting a C. Do you understand? Yeah. Like it's like, I know my self-worth and I know that I'm not going to be okay with getting a C. That's what it was. I know I'm not going to be okay with getting a C. Yeah. I'm like, "Okay, baby, then do it. Put some music on."
Yeah.
Put some music on and just get it done with. Get it over with. Just do it.
Yep.
You know? But that's the struggle that we all go through.
Yeah. And that is where you develop grit. Is getting shit done. Yes. When you don't want to do it.
The other message was, because they were talking about parenting and building the grit, right? Determination within the kids. And even if we've done this, when we started educating ourselves on parenting and realizing that the way we weren't parenting was the best way. This is when we would spank them when they were little, right?
Yeah.
And we made some adjustments. And then with the kids, and then with the kids and homework, remember that? That was that was a nightmare. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And then we started looking stuff up, started interviewing people on the podcast, and then we made some adjustments. And we also apologized to our children for the things that we did wrong. And I remember there was a time where I had my goddaughter here who was older. Okay. She was about 14. So there's a big difference in age between her and Audrey and Joey. Okay. There's about 6 to 8 because of Joey. But I was sitting at the table with Joey doing homework, and she was stayed with us for a little bit. I'm talking about Cassandra. And Joey was getting frustrated, and he was taking it out on me. And I lost my cool, and I yelled at him back.
Yeah.
And I said, dude, the way you are treating me right now is not fair. I'm sitting here trying to help you. And you are taking it out on me because you're frustrated. And I was already, I lost it. Because I could have had the same conversation in a calmer voice than what I was. And he said, well, Mom, he's like, you didn't have to yell at me or something like that.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I'm like, you're right. I'm like, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have yelled at you. But that's when I got into, it's not fair that I'm trying to help you and you're treating me this way.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that she was listening. She was sitting out here on the sofas and we were on the table. And afterwards she came up to me and she told me, she's like, I've never heard a parent apologize to a kid.
Yeah. I've had Joey, like I've asked him to help me, because I've lost my temper with him, especially with homework. Homework would freaking, I think any parents out there, like if you're trying to help your kids with homework and the way they're teaching them or whatever, and it's just super frustrating. And I've lost my cool with Joey before, and I've had times where I know I went overboard. That I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have yelled at him like that. It was just too much. And I apologized to him. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have yelled at you like that. I love you. I was frustrated. And I told him, I was like, look, I shouldn't be yelling at you for doing homework, no matter if I'm getting frustrated or not. I was like, if you notice that I'm getting pissed off and I start yelling or my voice starts getting, aggressive or whatever, just remind me and tell me, Dad, you promised that you wouldn't get mad when we're doing homework or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I won't get mad at you. I'll do my best. I'm going to work on it.
There's so much respect that you gain. Not that that's what we're looking for, but with the kids. When they see that we too make mistakes. Or at times when we're stressed out, because our kids get stressed out, right? Audrey gets stressed out. And I'm like, just sharing, today was a bit stressful, but I pulled through. Just sharing your experience with them of things that they're going through and things that you can relate to.
Yeah. Because
you become more relatable to them.
Well, yeah. And one of the things is like we were talking about, leading by example. What are we trying to do? We're leading this family. And there's so many times, I think it's just arrogance, that people feel at work, in the military, I've seen it, where you can't apologize. You're the leader. I'm not wrong. And you have no clue the amount of power that you have when you apologize, when you let people know that, yes, I am the leader, but I fucked up. Mm-hmm. And how could we do this better? That's a powerful thing as a leader.
Right.
That's the humility part.
Yes.
As a leader.
It's in relationships as well. Within the family. If you have an older sibling, younger sibling, and because they're older, they expect, or they expect a certain respect. And it's I understand that. For me, wisdom doesn't come with age. It doesn't. I learn from people
There's a lot
that
of
are
old
younger
dipshits.
than I. right?
Yeah.
I learned from my daughter who is 13 years old. I learned from my son, our son who's 11 years old. They have taught me patience.
Yeah.
They have taught us so much.
Yeah.
Even kids that are around us that come over. Just because you're older does not mean you're wiser.
And that's where the respect in leadership is earned. Like that's the thing, is that there is no automatic. Just because you get put into a leadership position, like, yes, you are the leader because that's your title. You've been designated the leader. We are the parents, so that makes us the leaders. But the respect that comes with a leader is not automatic. You earn that. And those are the moments when you earn that. The moments of humility, when you can show that you're wrong and you can own up to it and you can fix it. How can we do this better? That's where you earn respect as a leader.
Or a parent.
Or a parent.
Or a friend.
And when you show them that you put people first, you put your people first. That's how you earn your respect. Yeah, I mentioned it on here, like my first days as a leader, and it's just something, I don't know, man. Like, it's always been like that for me. I just always thought, like, that's just the way a leader should do things. We're a team. I've always seen myself. I've shared the story here about the military. My first day in the when I got made the leader of a floor of about like 100 people, and the shittiest job is cleaning the bathrooms. They had 4 big ass bathrooms with 15 showers, 10 toilets, 10 sinks. And I thought, tonight, I'm going to do it by myself. And I'm going to tell the guys in the morning that that's already done. You guys, if you guys could help, we can vacuum up the hallways, clean up the rest of the stuff. And the guys that were supposed to clean the bathroom can pitch in on the other stuff. But together, we'll get it all done.
There you go.
And before I knew it, there was guys helping me. They were like, what are you doing in here? And they helped me clean one bathroom. Before I knew it, there was a group of people helping me clean bathroom to bathroom. I didn't have to introduce myself the next morning. They knew who I was.
Right.
When I was an inspector out on the flight line where I work, I always saw myself, yes, I'm an inspector. It's not really like a leadership position, but you're looking over everybody else's work. So it kind of, in a way, it puts you in that position. But the way I've always seen it is I am one of you guys. Right. I am a mechanic. Like, I'm an inspector, but I am a mechanic first. This is just the role that I happen to have, but I'm one of you guys.
Right.
All I want, I want to keep you out of trouble. That's what I'm trying to do. I don't want you to get in trouble. And hopefully, if I'm trying to keep you out of trouble, you'll want to keep me out of trouble. That's just how it is. I don't know. That's just how I've always felt. Like the best way to get shit done with people.
In a relationship, I was thinking back at, just you and I. And there were times where you helped me realize that I had a challenge with apologizing. Right?
Yeah.
And that is not something that I ever thought I had a problem with at all. But I didn't have a problem apologizing to everybody else. It was you, but until you brought that to mind, like, I just never recognized it. And in a relationship, that can also cause division, right? Allowing that pride to get in the way of your relationship.
And another thing about apologizing is that it's just like anything else. Once you start doing it, the first time might be uncomfortable. But once you start just admitting your faults, you're not perfect. Nobody's fucking perfect. It's a lot easier to just, to continue apologizing when you make a mistake, and it makes things so much easier, so much smoother.
Right. Yeah, because now, these days it's nothing for me to tell you, you know what, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, if I made you feel this way, or I'm sorry if I did this, whatever it is. It's just, and it comes from a deep place within. It's not just saying I'm sorry to shut you up. It's like, man, I'm truly sorry because you're the last person that I would ever want to hurt.
Yeah.
You know, or make feel a certain way.
And that goes with everything. You fuck up something at work. Sorry. I didn't like if my boss comes and talks to me about something, like, hey, you didn't do this right. Oh, sorry. Like, can you show me what did I do? I want to make sure that I don't do that again. I will do my best not to do that again. I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah. And this is all just being mindful. Really, it's just being mindful, learning how to be mindful of others.
Yeah.
I was before when, you know, you and I were going through a situation where, you know, I did have a problem with apologizing. I started to dissect why. Like, why is it that it's so easy for me to apologize and even apologize when I'm not even in the wrong?
Yeah.
Just because a relationship is worth more than me being right.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases, you know, there's times where you used to get upset with me. Like, if that person did that to me, I would have cut them off. I mean, recently you're just like,
yeah,
dude, I don't
have a problem with that.
Yeah, just recently, you know, there's just a certain person in my life who, just is that way, you know, with me. And I come to you for advice and Miguel's like, rah, 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 rah. And I'm like, but it's not who I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not who it's not who I am to respond in that manner.
Right.
You know, and if it, and then questioning, is it worth it? Is it worth my energy? Really? Is it worth my energy?
Yeah.
To go back and forth, you know, it's just like, it is what it is. Like, there's some people that you have to love from a distance.
Yeah.
No matter how much you try to please and love them.
And it depends on, like you said, it depends on who you are. Because like for me, like for you, you probably don't want the energy of going back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah.
For me, I don't have any emotion or energy attached to the situation. So I don't have a problem with you just telling you like it is. And if you don't ever want to talk to me again, that's fine. I don't give a shit. But maybe nobody's ever told you anything because of how people feel about you. So I might be the one to tell you. And I don't have a problem with that. And if you don't want to talk to me, that's cool. But I don't know. It's, it can be a difficult situation. But there was something that I wanted to get into that has to kind of do with like apologizing a little bit. But more than anything, like taking ownership of your life. But before we do that, make sure you guys go to oppositesattractpodcast.com, share it with the people that you know. When you guys go to our website, you can watch the podcast there. You can listen to it there. You can follow all of our social media. Wherever you listen to podcasts, just search Opposites Attract Podcast and we'll come up. On any social media platform, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everything where the handle is at Opposite Pod, or if you just search Opposites Attract Podcast, it'll come up too. And when you go to our website, you can see how you can support the show. You can click through our Amazon link. You can click the support the show tab on our website. That'll take you to our Amazon link. Anything that you purchase through that link. Sonia's birthday's on Tuesday. Valentine's Day is coming up.
And there you go.
If you guys are buying something for your girlfriend, your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, whatever,
your
if
wife
you guys
and
do
girlfriend.
it,
No.
your wife and your girlfriend. I mean, I don't know what you guys are into, but if you guys want to help us out, you can shop through that link, and they give us a little kickback. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it helps us out, and we definitely appreciate that. And another way that you can support the show is
if you would like to buy us a coffee, which we'll be drinking soon, Tuesday, right? We've been caffeine free for how long? It's going to be 29 days. Yeah. So if you would like to support the show, buy us a coffee or buy us a drink, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/oppositepod. And if you would like to subscribe on a monthly basis and help us out on a monthly basis, you could do that as well.
Nice. And if you want to give us a call, you want to send us a message, let us know how we're doing. You want to send us a question that you want us to answer on the show. You can be anonymous. You don't have to leave your name. And you can call us at 480-331-9846. We'll also get text messages there. So if you want to send us a text of a question that you want us to read on the show and we can talk about it, you can do that there as well.
There you go.
So,
Good stuff.
yeah, so I just started listening to this book, never finished, the next book by David Goggins. And there was something that, this is something in my life that I've always just kind of seen similar to the way he sees it. And kind of what we were talking about earlier, like about being the creator of your life. Mm-hmm. And everybody goes through some type of trauma for the most part,
yes.
right? I don't think anybody gets out of childhood unscathed.
Right.
Like we've said that before.
Yes.
Everybody goes through their own things. Their parent, like whether, and it's worse for some people. I think you were in the shower. I was taking a shower listening to the book, and he was talking about how everybody gets their own piñata.
Oh yes. Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the piñata's full of candy, and life is great. And then some people get a piñata full of shit, and that's just the way it goes. But even if you get a piñata full of candy, that comes with its own problems.
Yes. Yes.
So no matter what, there's going to be shit that you have to work out.
Yes.
Now, you could live your life letting that control your life.
Yes. And be the reason why.
That's the reason why
yes.
I'm in the position that I'm in.
Yes. Yep.
And like my rib, it's a good excuse. You have a good excuse to not do this,
to quit,
to not do that, to not take ownership. This happened to me.
Mm-hmm. Right. Playing victim.
But that is never going to help you get to where you want to get to in life.
Right.
The only way at a certain point, you have to just take ownership of your life. Yes, that happened to me, but that is part of me, but that is not me.
Exactly.
I am who I am.
That's right.
And I create what I want to create around me. Mm-hmm. We were talking about some of the things that I went through growing up. My spankings were different than other, like it wasn't just getting spanked with a belt. The things that I heard, that I saw growing up, like, it's hard to even, it doesn't even sound like a real life sometimes. Working in nightclubs as a little kid, I remember I was probably between Joey and Audrey's age, and I would set up music equipment. I was so young. I would set up the music equipment because that was my dad's business. It's part of that grit thing. That's how we made money. I slept in offices, helping my grandmother clean buildings. I used to set up DJ equipment. I got good at it, and I used to love it. I really did like it. Mm-hmm. But I was so young that I couldn't hang at night. When everybody was at the club clubbing, I was sleeping on a fucking table. I had sitting in a chair with my head down, sleeping through the night on a table after hooking up all the DJ equipment, leaving the place at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. At 14, 15, I was working at a nightclub, counting money at the end of the night. We wouldn't leave work till 7 o'clock in the morning. And those are not to say bad experience. That probably taught me grit and all that stuff.
That's called neglect.
Whatever. But there were things that were not good.
Right. Oh, yeah.
But at a certain point, it's like, I know those things aren't good. What am I going to do about it? That's the life that I lived. That's not the life that I have to continue living. It's not the life that I have to continue letting affect me.
You don't have to own that.
Yeah.
Right.
It is me. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't have to continue to be me. It doesn't have to continue to affect me.
It was a part of your...
I am the creator. And I create something different around me. You take ownership. And you make a plan. And you figure out how you're going to get that done. And you have to see the world for what it is. Yes, these things happen. Bad shit happens. Some people, and not to say there's people that have had it so much worse than I could ever even imagine. But you have two options. You either let that affect you your whole life and drag you down, or you acknowledge it, recognize it, and use that to motivate you and make you understand that that doesn't have to be you going forward. You don't have to keep perpetuating that shit over and over, generation after generation.
Right. Right. And some people have that in them to take responsibility and to move forward and not allow it to control their life and the decisions they make. And others need help with that.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why I became a coach.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what I help people release.
Right. And that's part of the reason why we started this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we wanted to put this kind of stuff out there. You know, like it, yeah. That's it. We just want to share our experiences with all of you. And hopefully, I mean, we're, like I said, we're going to make mistakes.
That's how we learn. We've made many.
But
that's how we learned. You know, that's what makes us who we are. And that makes us wise.
We're going to have more opportunities for growth.
Yes.
That's what it's going to be.
Did you hear? And it makes us wise.
Right.
Because we've learned from all the shit that we've gone through. Right?
Yeah.
You know, good investments, bad investments.
Right.
Being in debt. Making this decision to get out of debt.
Yeah.
You know, we decided we were going to have 2 kids. And that was it.
Yeah.
Right? That's a decision we made together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even though it was challenging at the beginning, it made us who we are today. Like, I am so grateful. And when I sit and when I pray and when I'm at church, like, seriously, I thank God for the lessons. I thank God for the obstacles, right?
Yeah. It's like you were talking about the champion mindset.
Man, because if we didn't go through all the things that we went through, even think about the, you know, with my, you know, our niece and nephews going through all that difficult time, you know, just helping them, right?
Yeah. Taking them in and
being parents today with our children, it gave us a step forward with our children.
Right. We had to learn
how to discipline, what not to do, right? And taking the responsibility, like talking to Nikki and telling her, you know, like there's apologizing, right?
Yeah.
With Randy, because we were very firm and strict and there was lots of structure in our home and we just didn't.
At that point, we weren't who we are. Like, we didn't know the best way to parent them.
Right.
We just got 3 teenagers.
Right.
And it was like, shit, we're just, we know this is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But we're just doing the best we can.
Yep. You know, and that's it. But seeing where we are today and knowing where we are today, we can look back and look at those times and be like, man, we could have responded better or different. And instead of beating ourselves up about it, we just take ownership.
Yeah.
Hey, Nikki. Right? Hey, Randy. Even Nito. You know, I apologize to, you know, just all of it. It's just taking all of it and seeing it for what it is and taking responsibility and then forgiving yourself and moving on.
Yeah. It's cool. You got to take ownership. That's the only way that you're going to get to where you want to get to in life. Because if you don't, like, you're just giving the power away. There's nothing you can do when it's because of my childhood. It's because of my dad.
This is how I was raised. It's
because my neighborhood, this happened. I lost my best friend when I was this old. This happened to, you know.
Yeah.
At a certain point, it's on you.
And there will be a point in your life where all this shit gets so heavy. And it's starting to drag you down. And you're feeling it in your body. Aches and pains. And then it starts to affect you mentally. And you have 2 options. To get the help you need or to make the decision on your own that enough is enough. And you let all that shit go. with my client, she was going through some stuff. Same thing. She had a lot of things that she was battling. And I have my briefcase right here, and I pick up my briefcase and I start picking up all these books, and I'm just like, this is you. Carrying all of that baggage. This is you. Picking up more shit. And I said, you have a decision today. And I just dropped everything. Like, you can make the decision to let this shit go, or you can continue to drag that shit on for the rest of your life. What do you want to do?
And the crazy thing is that when you let it go,
man,
I talked to you about this when we were talking about that. It's kind of like when you've been working out and you've been eating better and you've lost 10 pounds. And you go to the gym and you grab a 10-pound weight and you feel it. And you're like, holy shit, I've been carrying this around with me. I had no idea. I've been carrying, and then you lose 20 pounds and you grab a 25-pound weight and you're like, holy shit, I used to carry this with me.
Right? Mm-mm.
It's the same thing.
Yes. It's a great analogy.
Like what you were talking about when you're in the middle of that. Like I've said, you're in a hurricane. You're in the middle of the hurricane when all that shit is happening, when everything is going wrong. But no hurricane lasts forever. After every hurricane, the sun comes out. You just have to know that eventually this is going to pass. And what do you do after a hurricane? You rebuild. That's it. You just got to survive the hurricane. And when you make it out, you get back to work and start fixing stuff up. Get back on the path.
So before we get out of here, you and I went to the gym together and decided that we were going to go sit in the sauna.
Yeah.
And it's great because on Saturdays, nobody's in there. Well, I was in there, sitting in there, and then here comes this, cute older lady, about 75 years old. She's Asian. And I decide that I'm going to start stretching. So I get up because normally I'm just in there like meditating. I'm in my own little world. But this time I got up, decided to stretch. And she sees me and she says, I am so grateful. She's like, I am so grateful that you are taking care of you. She said, because when I was younger, all I did was work, and work. She's like, and then when I got to the age of to retire, I couldn't do the things that I wanted to do because I didn't take care of me.
Yeah.
And she was just dropping knowledge, and she left me. I was tearing because I was so thankful for her to pour that into me, to confirm what I already know, because just doing all the personal development and getting to know myself and just putting my priorities in life straight, in order. And that is wisdom.
Yeah.
And she said, both of my kids are doctors, she said. Both of my kids are doctors.
That's
but
awesome.
I shared with them where I went wrong. So my kids that are doctors are skiing and spending time with their family, and they're living life. They're experiencing life. Don't be too busy. She said, money's good, but it's not everything. Make enough so that you can go have fun.
Yeah.
It's like, and there's times where you and I, where, because you and I I would say we are minimalist. We have one TV in the house. I mean, we when it comes to things like that, in a way, but we can do better, and we will do better.
Our Amazon list would say otherwise, or our orders.
Hey, I needed that travel blow dryer. Mine is too big.
I'm just saying. Whatever. Okay.
But anyways, babe, I'm in the moment,
I'm sorry.
man. Shut your face. But
yes, and sorry.
you know, it's yeah, we have one TV in the house. You know, we have 2 cars that we use until they break and we can't use them anymore, right? We
Or I
just
break
got a new toaster. We've had that toaster probably
shit was-
I had that
Dude,
toaster before Miguel.
I was
So
gonna
that
get
was 16 years old.
I was gonna get electrocuted using that toaster because it wouldn't the thing wouldn't stay down, so I would jam a knife in it, and it was like, all right, we need to get a new fucking toaster.
I don't know if that's poor mentality or if it's just, hey, if it's not broken, why replace it?
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
That was at the very end. Once I was like, all
Right.
right, I can't keep doing this
Right,
shit.
right,
We
right.
actually need a new one.
Yeah, and you feel sorry for me sometimes. I mean, never mind. I'm not a purse kind of girl,
Oh,
but
the purse.
I don't
that shit
respect
was
my
so
purse.
funny.
I just don't care for purses. I'm just like, dude, don't. Yeah, he bought me a Michael Kors purse. I saw the freaking price on that thing was like $500.
So-
I took that bad boy back.
Yeah, let's share that one because this was probably around this time, either last year or a couple years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it was for your birthday or it was
Or
Valentine's.
Christmas, something.
No, it was your birthday
Was
or
it?
Valentine's Day.
Okay.
One of those two. I think it was your birthday. So you have a purse that I think my mom bought you,
Yes,
and I mean,
and she bought me a Coach purse. I
Yeah.
don't spend money on purses like
no,
that.
and that's the thing is that like I don't mind, but it's like you don't need 10 of them. You know, if you have if I have something, I don't mind spending the money on something nice, but you better believe I'm gonna wear that shit out.
Yeah,
You know, and your purse was worn out. That shit was
It still works.
the colors were faded. You know, that thing was worn out. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go get you a nice one, a nice purse, and
He's
I don't
so
care.
cute.
I'm gonna go spend some money, and you know that's not my shit. Like to go purse shopping, and like I'm calling our niece, and I'm getting some advice, and I'm like, okay, cool. So I spent like a few $100s on a purse.
$500,
Something like that, right?
Yes,
And it was like the
it's
new,
like $542.
the new one.
Some crap.
It was a nice. I was like, dude, I like it. I mean, I'm not gonna wear it, but I like it for you.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and and then I give it to you, and you're like, oh, this is nice, and you're like, but I don't kind of need. You know, I don't know if I need a purse
No,
like this.
I will
or
not
what-
respect that purse. Will be on the floor. I leave them in the car. I do not. I don't care for
And
purses.
my thought was like, look, if this isn't the one that you like, then if anything, we could just take it back, and then
Right.
you can pick out the one that you like.
Right.
So that's what I thought was going to happen. We're going to go back to the store, and then you could pick out a purse that's a couple $100. That's your style that you like,
Right.
whatever. But you couldn't like get yourself to spend $500 on a purse.
No.
So we ended up going to fucking TJ Maxx, and so we're like, so by this time we had been talking about the purses and the type of purse that you wanted.
Yeah.
So we're walking the aisles, and you're in one aisle and I'm in another aisle, and I'm like, okay, she wants a little one that's like this big. It's got a lot of pockets for the cards and all this other stuff. So I'm like, how about this one? You're like, no. How about this one? No. And you're looking at stuff. And then I go around to the aisle to where you're at, and you're holding this fucking purse, and it's in TJ Maxx for a reason. It's got fucking threads coming out,
Shut
you know,
up.
like the
No, it
stitching's all
didn't.
fucked up. And in that
No, it
moment,
didn't.
like I put my hand on your back and I'm like, oh, I've beat you down too far. Like, oh, you can't even enjoy a fucking nice purse. You're over here looking at this fucked up piece of shit. I was like, babe, you don't have to do that. And dude, it had
Oh
literally,
my God, you
it's
have
over
me
there. We should
crying.
fucking put it on the
Shut
podcast.
up.
It's one of these where, you know how like the fucking people that work at a place, the purses are all in a box and they fucking cut them open with a box cutter. This purse has a fucking cut in it from a box cutter on the front of the
liked it,
purse.
Though. It's a 9 West. It's tiny. It's exactly what I need. I don't like carrying purses. If you know me, you don't see me carrying a purse.
Dude,
right?
and I told you, I was like, you know what? All right, fine. You could get this purse, but just like as a holdover purse, because it's like fucking $15 or some shit. Like you could have it as a holdover purse until you could replace it and get the one. Like if you find one that's like, yes, that's what I want. Fucking no. You never, that's still the fucking purse like 2 years later that you're using with the fucking cut in it, strings hanging out. It's all fucked up.
There's no strings hanging out of it.
No, you cut them off. But there were at the
Oh
time.
my God. No, there wasn't. You're such an exaggerator.
Oh,
Anyways,
shit.
guys, I hope you enjoyed our podcast.
Yeah.
We love you guys. Thank you for your support and all that good stuff.
Make
Thank
sure you go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com. When you
Yes.
go to our website, the first thing that's going to pop up is the resource list. If you guys enter your name and your email, you guys can download that for free. Like we've said before, it has a list of books, books, podcasts, videos that we really enjoy, that have helped us change our mind on things, that have opened up our mind to certain different things, different ways of thinking about parenting, about marriage, about life, about everything. And it's also a way that we can stay in touch with you guys if, I'm talking about some crazy shit like maybe we did today. Like Sonia likes to say that I'm going to get us kicked off of the internet. But if that was to happen and you guys still want to listen to the show, the only way that we'd be able to do that is if we can get a hold of you. And the only way we can do that is if you guys send us your information by downloading that resource list, going to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com.
There you go. Thank you guys for your love. Thank you for your support. And thank you for watching Opposites Attract Podcast.
Where we get better
together. Bye.